The Armed Forces Border Group only needs to confirm that Tianhai City no longer appear large-scale, and intelligent beings command zombies. So, they started checking areas where zombies could be concentrated. Under the subway near large forces. After 10 days of testing, they didn't see any sign of the king in Tianhai City. So the investigation team more or less assumed that the zombie threat is over. In a car on black snow, the school said, "We can go back now, right? Now the city of Tianhai is no longer zombies. There's only a handful of brain-dead zombies left. Leave the rest to the indigenous people. We can go back to Snow City. Take a day off after a stressful fight." But the deputy captain of the school's police department glanced arms. The final decision is up to this leader. The next leader. Is there any work to be done? The border guards adjusted their sunglasses. Currently, there is no big problem. In his heart, there was a real sense of hopelessness. It was because of this feeling that he was in no hurry to leave. The cause of this feeling. The first is his experience. The second is the words that Zhang Yi once told him. The military thought. The mission in Tianhai City completed too smoothly. Many people died as a team. Investigation remains perfect, no harm. The process of fighting is also not in danger. So just one battle killed 6 kings. This smoothness, it's like a very well laid out script. The military has solved many complicated problems. He is also very sensitive, with both natural and man-made risk. So the advantage of this mission. That made him suspicious too. However, during my stay in Tianhai City, they didn't find anything suspicious. They also can't stay in the Tianhai City forever. After receiving a report from them, the police also urged them to return. Snowstorm into high rise. I'm very concerned about your safety and your safety. The soldiers looked at the relieved smiles of their comrades. I decided to go back before a trip. Report to the commander. If something happens later, you can contact Zheng and others. And so, the soldiers slowly opened their mouths. Okay, let's go back to Snow City. Investigation team cheers. And Confucius clapped excitedly. The mission is completed this time. They will receive a reward from the general. You can even take a day off to recover. The school laughed and said, "It's a shame. Trong epidemic and Ra not coming back with us." Laughing, he asked a deputy. "You care so much about them?" The school replied with a laugh. "We feel the mutants in the Tianhai City. All in DTO like Trong Ying and not reborn. It makes us feel interesting." I thought for a moment and laughed. That's right. Mutants have characteristic systems. Achieving Delta rank is rare. Dysfunction of Zhang, it's very important in any team. And you don't. Her abilities are at the strategic level. The opposite, like Red Pepper training Celestial Figure, Nu Yendin, High. These people have a fighting ability. Blizzards are not uncommon. The armed forces thought about the chapter, and it didn't dawn. Talk about something related to them. We'll discuss it slowly later. The armed forces thought. According to the principle, if the epidemic, I don't care about growing in the snow. He will not force either. But it doesn't light up if it's discovered. Her abilities can create a large number of mutants. Whether to come with or not, it's not her decision. Then the army decided to prepare to return. Poly School Drive Bar. Turn around the car towards the Tianhai city border. But just as they're about to leave the Tianhai city, the armed forces received a call from Zhang Yi. The military frowned. The police chief asked the chief to call her. The military said casually, "It's not Zhang Yi's phone." The enemy, when he heard the name, Zhang Yi immediately frowned. An impatient face. This guy didn't call early, didn't call late. Call again when we're leaving. Don't want to cause trouble. The enemy always doesn't like to spread. They even show the opposition. The army said nothing more to the enemy. After just a few satellite phone rings, he pressed the button to connect. "Hello, we are border guards." From the Kier end, the sound comes out. "My captain is Zhang Yi. May I ask you now, have you left Tianhai city?" The soldiers looked in the direction the car was going. It's less than 10 kilometers from the Tianjin city border. He said casually, "It's coming." Zhang Yi is worried, but still seems calm. "There's one thing before you leave. I feel the need to tell you." "What's going on?" "We discovered a group of zombies in the mountain clams." On the cold face of the soldiers, a little expression appears. The epidemic continues further. This time, the scale is bigger and scarier than last time. In the end, the army could not resist. He told the deputy to stop the car. The bar manager immediately breaks. Members of the investigation team with different facial expressions look at the border, curious as to what Zhang Yi said. The police officer asked where you found them. "Is it reliable?" And he hesitated to answer. "In the subway tunnel in the clam area. At the deepest point, there are at least 100,000. In fact, I've always suspected that. The zombie threat has not been fully addressed. So after returning, we're constantly destroying the remaining zombie groups and clean up the tunnels, subway. Finally, thanks to my own patience, we've discovered their existence." Hold the satellite phone tight, waiting for the words of the soldiers he wants to hear. He hopes the investigation team will stay, because in his next plan, the military plays a very important role. There's only support from the armed forces and the power of the Jiangnan region. They can destroy a major threat. The word is not. And according to the speculation of Zhang Yi and Yang Zhangsen, after listening to Zhang Yi's words, the military will definitely decide to stay. The zombie problem has not been solved. They can't be considered finished. You can't go to the south. Assigned to another task. As the lead investigator, the military needs to understand the situation. When you hear this, take a deep breath. Then breathe out loud. His mood is complicated. If what Zhang Yi says is true, then his previous worries have come true. Zombie danger in Tianhai City cannot simply be excluded as such. And the present peace is an illusion. In the heart of the army asked himself to answer. What is its purpose? Of course, the goal is to deceive them. To make them leave the Tianhai city. He felt very angry. I can't believe they were fooled so easily. But on the other hand, it worries him. AI is capable of setting up a conspiracy and control such a large number of zombies. It's certainly not the so-called king. The military thought. Maybe the white-haired monkeys they killed. Not the real king. Behind this force, there's definitely more advanced AI out there. He asked Zhang where you are now. I'm good at home. I'll be right now. Then, Trong Yi opened the diathesis and told Hoa Hoa. Let's go home. After speaking, the soldiers ended the conversation. He turned his head and told the police. Let's go back. We go to Zhang Yi's hideout. Yes, Chief. Deputy head of car rotating bar walk a big circle on a snowy field towards the lock music area. Other members of the investigation team look at each other with suspicious eyes. Phew, you don't seem satisfied. Chief, you want to see Zhang Yi. The armed men pushed up their sunglasses and spoke calmly. Maybe the zombies haven't been dealt with yet. Why can we just walk away like that? Finished talking, he suddenly coughed hard as if he wanted to cough out his lungs. The enemy became anxious and hurriedly pulled Vu back. Quick check for the leader. Vu opened the medicine chest and took out a pill. Give it to the soldiers. After a while they con. Soldiers open their hands. And his hands are covered in blood. Everyone's expression becomes serious. He's also worried about his health. Everyone's eyes were pitiful. Even the school district bar. Ordinary people always laugh, haha, also frown. The eyes become deep. Border troops swallow the pill from Strong for Vu gave. Even though this medicine can't cure his disease, at least it's less painful for him. The military is calm. Wipe the blood from the corners of your mouth and palms with a towel. He said it without even caring. You don't have to make a face like that. I've never regretted receiving this ability. Thanks to it, we can survive. Through the constant mortal danger. Everything has two sides, and there's a price to pay. All the gifts that God gives to man. Everything has its price in the dark. He told everyone in the group. In this post-apocalyptic period, when you need to get used to this kind of thing, don't let the feeling be tragic. It affects your reason. To maintain absolute reason, it's very important to you. Everyone is listening in silence. Somewhere else, after hanging up the phone, they are waiting for the army at their home. He's prepared a reason to quit. Determined to pull the region south into the case, so they can't escape. Hours later, the coroner's car showed up in front of the hideout. The campaign that directed Chu Kai Ni and Yang Mi, food preparation, received them. However, it's clear whether it's Vu or others. When they arrive, they are very serious, not in the mood to eat. Just came to woo enemy, staring at Zhang Yi, eyebrows standing up. Ferocious expression. What did you discover? You must make it clear to us today. If you dare to play us, I can't leave you alone. The enemy doesn't care about the words of the enemy. Because he knows, these are the words of the enemy, it doesn't really matter. He turned to the border of the army and the 100 Years' War. Please come to my house first. Then we'll talk about this slowly. The soldiers went to the living room. Ask others in the house. Go out first. Let him meet the investigation team alone. After sitting down, Polyschool straight question bar no round. Foot translation. We've known each other for a long time. The zombie problem is no small thing. Senior manager in the Blizzard City. Also very interested. If anything happens, just say it. But don't mess with this. Nod your head. Of course, I can't joke about this kind of thing. I want to show you something. Take the video camera the mouse has turned out. Put up a big screen for the investigation team to see. They saw that scene. And the color of each person's face, they all become very serious. Although the viewing angle of the machine recording from mouse, you can't see the scale of the zombies. But it's run through every subway tunnel. Where the sleeping zombies filled the tunnel. Careful estimation. There must be more than 10,000 zombies inside. The enemy cannot speak evil now. It just looks amazing. Everyone feels cold on their back. This is their common feeling right now. They're not afraid of zombies. Even though there's more of these creatures. They can also be destroyed slowly. With all kinds of tricks. Like these zombies hiding here. It means there's that AI controlling it all from behind. If Zhang had not discovered them and notify the investigation team, they'll know absolutely nothing. And back to the blizzard. Then the zombies will be more aggressive. From the subway climb raw, destroying large, weak forces. At that time, the whole of the Tianhai city will be completely over. It's not just the investigation team that's responsible. 7 failures in the mission. It's because they didn't detect the problem in time. Led to LAN zombies overflowing the area to the south. He looked at everyone slowly. The first time we saw them, I also started screaming. Their numbers are really huge. And without your help, the city of heaven can't solve them. So we can only have thick faces. Please stay and help us once. Look at the military and others. The ballerina behind her sunglasses frowned deeply. Before this unexpected situation, he couldn't make a decision quickly. He asked how many people knew about it. The answer is that only we and our team know. We don't speak for other forces, including most people in our group. It's not clear about this either. Armed Forces Frontier, staring at the translation chapter. You are doubting that. Someone's controlling everything from the back. Shake your head. It's hard to say. But it's important. We're not sure. I can only ask you to show me how to deal with it. He sighed, patting his head. If you don't even know how to do it, we can only lead our people. Get out of this dangerous place. Blizzard City offers free accommodation, right? The military did not react to the humor he asked. Apart from these images, do you have any other information? Zhang Yi shook his head. No more this time, really no more. You must also know, I'm not a professional investigator. It's about finding this information. Was very lucky. The army was silent for a moment, then slowly nodded. We already know this. We'll figure it out. But you also need support. The epidemic seems hesitant to say, our team is fine. But the other forces have lost 80% of their strength. Can we deal with a group of zombies? On such a large scale? The military replied that this is your mission. So of course, you have to make an effort. Psi chapter. Okay, I understand. The armed forces stand up, so we'll go first. She asked me not to eat dinner before she left. My house is very big. Maybe you can stay here and rest for a while. But the armed forces firmly refused Zhang Yi's suggestion. No need. We're not used to resting at other people's homes. The investigation team is very careful. It is not easy to trust others. Especially now, after Zhang Yi shared information about the zombie group. The military became more suspicious of him. I can be sure that. Who controls the zombie group? It's not a translation. Even SAO, since the risk of zombies appeared. Only their group had no fatal AI. Continue to translate. That's it. If you need any help, just let me know. Zhang Yi's eyes were sincere. The military just nodded. He then led people out of Zhang's hiding place. Standing in front of the window. Look, their car has gone away. A long time later, he sighed deeply, his eyes filled with fear. Because he's actually withholding some information. What he showed his troops and his crew. It's just a small part of what the camcorder records. In fact, the number of zombies in the tunnel, metro and NGA Sun area, much more than they know. As Zhang Yi worries that, let the investigation team know the true scale of the zombie group. They may decide to withdraw. That's not good for the plan. He said to himself, don't blame me, I just want to survive. In the end times, everyone has to save themselves. If the investigation team can't pull out of this case, the safety of his group will be guaranteed to a certain extent. Next, they will have to watch and reaction according to the development situation. If everything goes according to the script that he outlined, he will be the greatest beneficiary. In the car on the snow, the atmosphere in the investigation team became tense. They've just finished a zombie fight and thought that zombie problem in Tianhai City has been very in detail processed. However, after seeing that image, they realized they were naive. This also means that they're going to face an even more difficult situation. The military is not clear. He thought silently. AI is the zombie operator who commands them everywhere. Or the Kier who's hiding doesn't show up. Or Zhang Yi is stealing and shouting at the village. Everyone knows that. He's very complicated in his mind right now. There are currently two options. One is to go back and ask for support from Jiangnam. Ask the general department to hire people to support you. Two is to rely on themselves and indigenous power of the Tianhai city to launch an attack. Decide. The military is hesitant about these two plans. No doubt about it. The first option is the safest. But it also means they have to admit, your ability is not enough. This will reduce their position in the eyes of the leaders of the Jiangnan Great Region. Will also reduce the cumulative points they gain through the task. And this cumulative point is the supply of supplies, survival for them and their families, in the snow. However, if you choose the second option, they will face certain risks. Members of the team, they're waiting for orders from the military. After a long fight together, they believe in the military. After a thought, the armed forces make the final decision. Now the situation is vague. We can't hurry. Ask for support from your superiors. The priority now is investigate the situation in that area. Before, if you can solve the problem yourself here, we absolutely shouldn't bother you. Whole. Everyone on the team nods in unison. Even if you ask for aid, Need to understand how big is the situation in Tianhai City. Only in this way can we reasonably request assistance. Avoid wasting force, or because of insufficient aid that led to 7 mission failures. Vu is confident in his decision. Let's start investigating the area. That Zhang Yi said. I heard that, the school counselor asked intently. Should we invite the indigenous forces? In Tianhai City, will you join us? Proposal of the Bar School Politburo rejected by the armed forces without any hesitation. Not right now. We absolutely can't allow any other AI. Join. Soldiers with a cold face. Speaking in a deep voice. This isn't a disaster. It's a disaster. We can't help but suspect that. The mastermind is among the 5 Kier forces. This word, take everyone on the investigation team seriously. Your enemy said. Someone's feeding these zombies. It will be AI. Is it Zhang Yi? I think he's the most suspicious. Really, if you look at the current situation of Tianhai City, the epidemic is really suspicious. He was the only one in the forces. No damage to 7 people caused by zombies. The school's defense. I feel it's not him. No matter what you do, there needs to be a cause. As Zhuo, there is no reason to do so. He doesn't lack the resources to survive. In the world, end of the world, and his friends are doing pretty well. More than that, he took the initiative to share information about zombies with us. If he's not crazy, certainly don't dare to trouble ourselves with us. Representing Jiangnam Great Region. Enemies find it difficult to understand, but apart from him, it could be someone else. In the coastal city, except for him, the other factions have suffered heavy losses. If they're sure they can't intentionally lead zombies to destroy his own forces, right? Vu strongly spoke up. It could be some force. I don't want others to know. The soldiers thought for a moment and said, they don't collect. 10 is information related to this issue. I can't make a judgment. Let's go to the Sun Clam area to have a look. When we get there, we'll know the real story. How does it happen? At the hideout. After the coalition and the group left, Zhang Yi sits on the sofa in the living room, in hand teasing with a silver lighter. He kept opening and closing the lighter. The bright flame flared up, creates a thin and long blue flame, like a sharp falling army blade. Outside the window, the snow is heavy, but inside the shelter was as warm as spring. He stared at the fire in front of him. After a thought, finally decided frankly, share everything with the person next door. For the investigation team was lured by Trong Yi to the Sun Clam area. This also means that a large number of zombies are about to break out. It also implies that decisive battle with real zombies in Tianhai City, not far away. If everything goes according to the predictions of the translation, the recent war in the snow, it's just a real art farce. During the battle this time, will increase the pressure to multiple levels. If not well controlled, the entire city can be destroyed by zombies. The police must be sure that every situation is controlled in its own power. At least he also must make sure that I and those around me can survive. In the worst case, he wants to survive. It's time to prepare them psychologically. The same movement for an hour, closing the lighter. Then tell the smart little robot, Zhao Wai, help me notify everyone in the shelter. Invite them to the living room. Received the order. Right after that, Baby's voice echoed through the corners of the shelter. Invite everyone in the shelter to the living room. Gathering. When I hear this voice, everyone has a curious face. Most of them don't know. The zombie threat is still unsolved. And usually, the campaign only summons people when there's an important issue. So people don't know what happened. Only Yang Han Han, her eyes flashed a gloom. Wheelchair operator, leaving the console. Just a few minutes later, everyone in the shelter has gathered in the living room. They're all looking at the translation. What's wrong with the translation? What happened again? There's a little tension in everyone's heart. They thought the zombie threat was over, and they can enjoy a peaceful life. But Zhang Yi's serious face, it makes them feel insecure. Yang Han Han asked, "Has the CA discovered anything new?" The translation didn't make people wait long. He talked directly about what happened. This time, the zombie danger in Tianhai City. It's not a natural disaster. It's a humanist. Behind it lies a great conspiracy, aimed at the entire population of the Tianhai City. Translation says everything, slowly and gently. It started with the discovery of the unknown. Owns many heterosexual male. Until he found out. The cave hides a large number of zombies. Because of the complexity of the story and the layout, it's been planned for a long time. You have to slow down your speaking speed. Little by little analysis for everyone. He took the video from the mouse. Shine it on the projector for everyone to see. This is where we found a lot of zombies. Everyone was surprised with their eyes. The air in the room was filled with strangeness. On everyone's face, they all show a strange expression. They feel like they're listening to a mysterious story. Complex and endlessly overturned. If you don't listen carefully to every detail, it's hard for them to understand its origin. The translation says, now people just need to remember that the ultimate goal is not to, and preaching, is to destroy all power in the city of Tianhai. Then, they'll take over the power of the paranoid. As we are. What will she do after that? It doesn't matter to us. Our real problem is that, how to solve this big annoyance. The horse is not far from the horse. Hear that pale face. She stroked her goosebumps arm, muttering. She's not trying to kill me. Death returns. The power only comes when you kill. It's been implanted with amber. In the shelter. Only the bile is implanted in the amber. Although her abilities are mostly supportive, they're very helpful. The important point is that there is no danger. It's the same to kill one person or to kill 1,000 people. There is no reason to save your life. At this moment, Zhu Kaini quietly feels lucky because it wasn't implanted in amber before. You also understand that the police did this to protect you. Comforting campaign. You don't have to worry about temporary privacy. If everything goes according to our predictions, the conspiracy of the original is not fake, nor will it succeed. You are worried, but what you say? You don't have at least 10 now. Even rows of 10 or hundreds of aptitudes. Who can deal with her? Anti-Chin thinking chapter. Someone can. Who is it? People are curious to ask. Border Force Vu. I mean, seriously, this name. That's why. At SAO, he's determined to keep the investigation team. When Zhang Yi mentioned the armed soldier, And the words fat are all nods. They've seen the power of the military. That terrible power. It can destroy everything in sight. In the blink of an eye. If it's not too big of a side effect. Military troops can absolutely reach the rank of clone. However, for Trong Yi, the use of this force, just to be able to thwart the conspiracy of danger, is just enough. That night when Zhang Yi and others were dealing with an army of zombies, a group of soldiers slipped into the ground and destroyed 6 emperors. At that time, the number of zombies protecting the underground emperors, certainly not less. As a group of armed border guards complete the mission of destruction. This proves they have a way of dealing with large numbers of zombies. However, they may have to pay a huge price, such as shortening. There was not much of an army. They know what they're doing is somewhat inappropriate. But to protect yourself and those around you, he could only sacrifice some unrelated people. If you feel a little guilty, that's because the border patrol invited him to join the Snow City, show goodwill. However, Zhang Yi said to himself in his heart, we have no choice. If there's only one way to survive, I choose to protect myself and those around me. Then, Zhang Yi began to present the next plan for everyone. I say these things to you so that you have psychological preparation. If the situation gets out of control, and from the Jiangnam 7 defeated team, we're going to have to leave the city of Tianhai. There's a lot of material in our hyper-energetic space. No matter where we go, we can survive. The most unfortunate thing is to lose this shelter with its superior defense system. So people who are not combat personnel, in the coming days, you don't need to change your clothes when you sleep. Be ready to change position at any time. There are those who fight. Your mission is very simple. Always ready for war, and follow my orders. After listening to Zhang Yi's words, people have no objections. Brows curiously ask, our enemies are ultimately zombies, or the snow spear? Take a deep breath. He looked at her and said it could be both. Facing thousands of zombies and an extremely powerful warrior, this situation is so desperate. They don't understand. How can a dog be so calm? Take a deep breath. Now, I don't know what to say to comfort you. But the current situation is like that. Everybody understand that. The worst situation is, we're going to have to leave the city of Tianhai. If the 7th Army fails, although it is not, we don't command an army of zombies to attack us. The Jiangnan region will also not be tolerated. Put your hands in the sky. The attack is not different from death. Will destroy the entire city of Tianhai in the blink of an eye. Everyone on my face was crying and laughing, but mostly laughing. If such a bad situation happens, they won't have any chance to protest. He fell down on the couch and continued. It's fate that what has to come will come. I have prepared everything, but the plan depends on the people. Success depends on the will of God. Whether all development, it can be as convenient as imagined. Whether or not, it depends on the will of God. I can't control everything. Even though he and Yang Xiangxin plan to deal with zombies and worship the snows. But the world is full of surprises. So he arranged a way out for everyone. If Plan 7 fails, they'll have to leave the Tianhai city first. For the original, the most hated type of enemy is not Zhang Yi. It's the other big forces. even after the end of the world. The feud between them is the deepest, and you don't want to get 10 first. Tell everyone to get ready. The next thing we can do is pray. And Zhang Yi murmured in prayer, I hope the plan this time goes well. Then he took out the satellite phone and start the camera from the mouse. Let it lead the way. Let the armed men go. Somewhere else, the gray mouse recorded 2 red eyes start moving under his control.